Hello everyone! I've got an unexpected Hitchcock review for you today. Well, it's unexpected for me because I didn't intend to talk about this one for a long time. Today I'm reviewing Topaz, Hitchcock's third-to-last movie, which came out in 1969. I know I saw this once years ago, but I remembered nothing except one famous image that often shows up in Hitchcock montages, so it was kind of like seeing it for the first time. Over time, I got it in my head that this was a bad movie, mainly because it never makes anyone's top 10 Hitchcock list. Since most people agree that it's subpar, I wasn't in a hurry to see it and decided I would just push off reviewing it for as long as possible. But then Turner Classic Movies played it last Saturday, and my mom and I just happened to be passing by as the credits were rolling, so here we are, I'm reviewing it. Set in 1962, Topaz begins with the escape of a Russian official and his family from the Soviet Union. He defects to the US and gives the government classified information about Soviet activities. That information leads to an investigation into Russian activity in Cuba, as the film overlaps with the Cuban Missile Crisis, as well as to an investigation of a suspected NATO spy ring. The cast is led by Frederick Stafford, playing a French intelligence agent who's asked by his friend, an American agent played by John Forsythe, to investigate these issues on the US's behalf, since the US was involved in the Cold War with Russia and France was not. As you can probably tell, this is very much an international movie. Its cast features mostly non-American actors, and its setting jumps around from Copenhagen to Washington to New York to Havana to Paris. Its focus is not on murder or mystery, but on global political intrigue. Quite frankly, political intrigue has never been a huge draw for me, but if the movie's good enough, I can get into it. And while this is not a great movie by general standards or by Hitchcock standards, I was surprised to find I liked it better than I thought I would. Granted, my expectations were pretty low, but still, it wasn't terrible. Let me fill you in on a little background. Hitchcock was unhappy with the final outcome of a production fraught with complications. Topaz was based on a story by Leon Uris, who started working on the screenplay, but neither Uris nor Hitchcock enjoyed working with each other. When Uris quit, Samuel A. Taylor, who scripted Vertigo, was hired to take over. Unfortunately, the screenplay suffered from the transition. At times, scenes were being written just hours before filming started. The movie also has 3 endings, referred to respectively as the duel, the airport, and the suicide. The suicide ending is the one that aired on TCM, so that's the one that I saw. The duel was the ending Hitchcock originally intended, and was in the process of filming when his wife Alma got sick and he was called away. Someone else took over as director for that scene, but when Hitchcock came back, he decided instead to shoot an alternate ending. But then that second ending didn't screen well, so they opted for ending number 3. Still, in spite of their attempts to fix it, Topaz failed to be a commercial success. As for my personal comments, my biggest problem is that it moves a little slowly. The tense scenes aren't enough to bolster the parts of the plot that drag, and there are certain scenes in which the dialogue feels stiff and unnatural. There are at least 2 scenes in which one character has a conversation with another character, but we're out of earshot and can't hear what they're saying. From a creative standpoint, this is interesting, and it's a classic voyeuristic Hitchcock touch, but it doesn't make for a hugely exciting scene, at least not in this movie. I'd been under the impression all along that John Forsythe, who was the only actor besides Roscoe Lee Brown that I recognized, was the main character. He was not, and it took me half of the movie to give up hope that he was suddenly going to come back and be a major player. We didn't learn much about him, but he seemed like a nice, decent, professional G-man, and I liked him much better than the actual main character, who I thought was dull and whose romantic entanglements failed to interest me. I also didn't care for Maurice Jarre's jaunty, ill-fitting soundtrack, but hold on! Before it starts to sound like I'm completely condemning this movie, let me close on a more positive note. Topaz does have some classic Hitchcock touches in the camera angles and effects, the sense of timing in tense scenes, and the director's cameo, one of the most amusing moments in the movie. The picture quality was excellent, it was nice to see Hitchcock focus on a striking brunette for a change, and I really enjoyed the opening sequence. If I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have stuck around to see the rest of it. So that's what I thought of Topaz. I don't expect I'll want to see it again anytime soon, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't as bad as I expected. Even Hitchcock's subpar movies have something to recommend them. So I hope you found this review helpful or informative, whether it convinced you to see Topaz or not. Either way, I hope you enjoyed it, and I appreciate your tuning in. Thanks for watching. Bye!